All right, cool. Hopefully this will be live in just one sec, Rockstars. Let me see. This is a bit of a experiment because this is basically the first time I'm doing live streaming to you. So I want to test this out and see if we can have a little Sunday morning jam. Let me see how this goes. See if it's popping up on the feed. Yeah, all right, cool. I see it there. And if you're seeing it too, say hello. Should be able to just chat and it'll pop right up, so I'll be able to see you there. I'll give it a minute to warm up. Give a shout out to any of you that are jumping on this too. And I'm going to be doing some drum edits today, so that's the plan. I'm going to go in and start messing around with some drum edits on a record I'm doing with Aaron Armistead, who's an awesome artist. He's making great pop music. What did I describe it? I described it as like a cross between Paul Simon meets the Flaming Lips, something like that. Just real cool tracks. So if you're jumping on this live chat right now, just drop a comment in below and say hello. And then we'll get into some drum edits here in just a sec. This is not one that I did an email announcement for to let you know, heads up. I just wanted to test it out on a Sunday morning. Philip, what's up, dude? Good to see you, dude. Where are you coming in from? Drop a comment and let us know where you are in the world. I just wanted to get this going. So this is like a big 2019 goal for me, is to get more live streaming going from here at the studio, from Recording Studio Rockstars, and be able to just kind of chat with you and interact and do Q&A and, you know, show some cool tips and tricks from the studio. So today is just a casual, like, have a little coffee, get started, and chill out with everybody. And then we're going to get into some drum edits here in a minute. Where are you, Philip? If you're still on there, give us a shout and let us know. Also, let me know if you can see everything okay and if you can hear me okay. I think it's working just right, but it's always good to get feedback. Make sure that everything's happening the way it should be. All right, cool. Well, let me jump in and I'll just start doing some drum edits here, kind of show you what's going on. And then, you know, if you jump on and you want to drop in any comments, please do. And also let me know that everything's working like I hope it is while we're doing this too, because there's quite a few button clickery that I have to do. Also, it looks like I got to move myself on the screen a little bit slightly now. No, we're good there. Okay, cool. So let's check out this. Tell me how this, whoops, no, tell me how this scene looks to you on there. If you're still on. So this is kind of cool because it lets us see the chat in the bottom. And, oh, nice. Coming in from Old Forge, PA. Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, Philip, do me a favor and just let me know how this looks on your end too. And if you're getting sound when we jump into the Pro Tools too. In fact, I'll press play here and just let me see if you're getting sound in there. Let me know also, can you see the Pro Tools screen on there? Is that cool like that? Because I've got another scene that'll work too. Let me know if you're hearing the drums audio just fine on your end. I think it should be groovy. And then also, I'm going to try this one out. So let me know how you feel about this one right there. That's probably a little easier to see things, and I think we can still... Oh, no, this one doesn't give us the chat. So let me go back to this so that we can keep our chat up. And if it's too small or if it looks fuzzy on your screen or anything like that, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. What's up, the Dragon? Coming in from Ontario. How is it up there? It's probably chilly, I'm sure. Awesome. Cool, cool, cool. We're hearing everything. And Dan, how you doing, man? Good to see you, dude. All right, so here's what's going on. I've got a session here. This is from Aaron Armistead. Again, a great pop musician. I'll give you kind of a quick tour of what's going on in this session, but we track this stuff. This is a project we've been working on for a while, Aaron had done really great demos out of his own studio to begin with, and then he brought them to me, and we've been adding guitars, adding vocals, drums, stuff like that. And we actually did an original tracking session with a fantastic drummer, but in that session, we made a couple of choices that Aaron felt strongly like we wanted to make some different drum choices later. Basically, there's a 4 on the floor groove that we wanted to go for. So we decided to cut new drums, and that happens. Sometimes you just cut stuff on your record in the studio, and you know, you decide that you want to come back to it again later and add some more stuff and sort of you know, make changes. So that's what this is here. So I've got all these drums here where we cut 4 on the floor stuff and recut the drums. And so I got to go through and edit them and, you know, get them comped basically. And so that's what I thought I'd include you in on today. And then down below that, we've got, you know, bass track here. I think we just have a DI right now. And something looks funny about that on the screen. So hopefully it hasn't like freaked out on us or anything like that. It might just be like a screen draw or something like that. Let me see what's going on here. Yeah, we're good. We're good. It was just a little freeze there for a sec. We got electric guitars, acoustic guitars, electric guitar heavy. We've got another Strat track here, fuzz guitar. We did some Leslie guitar in the bridge. Check this out. This was really fun. That is awesome. I love that. So I actually have a Leslie, I believe it's the 122 cab, and a Leslie drive pedal here at the studio. And so we can run guitars into it, we can run vocals into it and stuff like that. So much fun to do. It takes a minute to hook it up and get everything going, but it's well worth doing. And then this probably down here is probably Aaron's original demo of this song, which I'll give you a taste of that too, just so you can see how good this stuff is that we're starting with. You know, it's tricky when you get a record in and it sounds so good to begin with that you're listening to it, you're like, okay, so I got to make this, I got to improve on this somehow, when it already sounds great. So, but anyway, here's what his original demo sounded like, and hopefully it's not blasting you too much. Oh, and then let me make sure the drums aren't still soloed up here. Sometimes I could swear my mind's a little bit defective, like an odd man bound to wind up in an institute of correction. You think I'd tire of fighting, kicking, screaming? Guess I'll rest when I stop reading. Just awesome harmonies, rich stuff. And I mean, yeah, just really great tune. So Aaron, you know, I think he uses Logic, and he does a lot of stuff with just programmed drums when he's demoing out his songs and everything. But then he gets some great guitar tones on his own and really cool vocal tones, and he's just got really awesome ideas harmonically and putting all this stuff together. So it's been really fun to, you know, add our new tracks. Let's see, I'll give you a taste of what this is without the drums. And this isn't a mix. This is just like a working mix of where we are when we're doing overdubs on this stuff. And let me see what we've got here if I just press play. Okay, let me point this out too. So this is a combination of overdubs that we've done and then stuff that works well from his original session that I'm keeping in there. Dan says too low. Okay, well, I'm not sure, Dan. Maybe it's maybe this will get a little louder as we go. Just let me know if we need to generally turn things up or down. But I know that sometimes it gets a little tricky and then it'll come back, and I don't want to blast you. But here you can see we kept some of his vocals from the demo because we haven't cut vocals for this yet. Kept his harmonies and his BV stuff. All these stereo tracks are all from his original Logic sessions. And then there's a first round of drums, and I'll actually mute this so that it's not getting in the way of what we're doing now. And then here's the new drums we're going to do, and the music. So let me just press play here and see what we got. And let me know if it's loud enough, just generally speaking. Sometimes I could swear my mind's a little bit defective, like an odd man bound to wind up in an institute of correction. All right, so this mix is a little bit wacky. And that's because it's in the state that we left it when we were cutting drums. So you end up wanting to do things like jack up the bass and, you know, certain guitars that give you the rhythm. So, you know, and you may only need a little bit of the vocal. And you can hear the room too. Listen to that. So that's like the guitar. Hopefully the left-right is the same for you guys over there, but that's the guitar on my left, my right ear, sorry, and then the room panned over to the left as part of that sound. Whether it's flip-flop for you guys, either way, it's fine. It's just that's the concept of like taking your close mics and having the room mic on the other side. Strat sound that we got. Fuzz guitar. What's up, Thomas? Shout out, man. Thanks for jumping in. Yeah, this is actually a first one, so I'm really wanting to do the live streaming, and I just thought I'd just jump right in. I've been actually working really hard to get everything set up so that it works, and you know, testing out this kind of arrangement where you can see me, and then I'm having to look over there to see my other streaming screen. But you know, the comments and the chat and the screen and hear everything, it's a little tricky setting it up. It's even harder than setting up for recording sessions. And then I played you guys the Leslie guitar. Here's that again. So let's jump into drums. I know I've been saying we're going to do drums. I doubt I'll get through this whole thing now, but I will show you guys where we're at. So you can see we did quite a lot of takes and overdubs. A lot of these are probably duplicates of things where we punched in. So what we did is we did takes, and then we'd work on sections, and then we'd really hone in on things, maybe take a break, come back to it again. And then when we get really close to having a take that we like, but we had fills, you know, a lot of times if you've got a song where the drum fills are pretty defined and you kind of really know what you want, and you want to make sure the drummer's doing it the right way, you may want to just simply go in and punch those fills on the track. Awesome. Thanks, Dan. Glad it's looking good now for you. You may want to punch those things on the track so that you can really just get a bunch of different takes on it. And I'm going to tell you that our goal was to do a 4 on the floor kick drum. And that's the first thing. I want you guys to remember this. When you're recording drums, pay close attention to your kick, because it's one of the first things that's going to disappear with a lot of drummers when the fill comes around. If you notice, they're likely to drop the kick drum from a fill, and you lose momentum in your track and in your sound potentially from that. You know, sometimes that could be the right move, but just I'll try and show you guys some examples of that. So here's what we've got for our drum sound in general. And there, see, he did a great job of keeping the kick drum underneath the fill right there. So that is key. Hopefully that's looking good to you guys. Let me know if the Pro Tools screen looks okay with this view where you can kind of, where it's sort of a little bit condensed, but you can still see everything. I just feel like that leaves some clarity for text. And I can see your chats much easier that way. Okay, so see in here I'm gonna zoom in. See, we've got a kick, kick, kick. So this is like triplet snares, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then downbeat of the next bar. And so you'll see the kick lines up under the first 3 snares, and then it lines up under the next 3 snares, and then it hits with the crash here. And that's a, you know, classic snare fill. And then it's really important to have that kick under the first one and the second one there. Now, one of the things you'll notice too is this is also pretty typical. Unless you have an extremely tight drummer, you're going to notice that the kick and the snare don't always line up together. A lot of times they might land at different times. Here on the second part of the fill, the kick's a little ahead of the snare. And that can be fine depending on your drum sound. That can work just great. But thanks, guys. I see your comments there, Philip and Thomas and Dan. Awesome. But if you're getting into the kind of drum mix in the end of this where you really want to highlight and accentuate the kick and the snare, you may discover that the kick and the snare not lining up. You know, if you're bringing out the attack in each of those in your final mix, that could create a real flammy sound on those fills where you want it to sound a whole lot tighter. So that can get real tricky. You may need to do some different things. One of the things that I might do is I might really work hard with the drummer until we get fills where the kicks and snares are lined up just exactly, you know, and not flamming at all. Another thing you can do is if you have to, you can get in there and grab your close mics of just the kick. So you can grab that, for example, and you can scoot it over and tighten it up. The problem is when you scoot that kick, you're also scooting its phase relationship to all the other open mics that are in your drums at the same time. Plus, you may hear the attack of the kick off that close mic, and you might also hear it somewhere else in some other mic, and that can sound a little funky. So you really have to use your ears on that, and you really have to work hard at it. In this case, I'm probably going to comp these drums in such a way that I'm trying to find the tightest and best sound. I'm just going to like trust my gut and my instinct on all these as I go through the comping process, and then I'll just sort of see where they're at in the end. And if I have to do any tightening or lining stuff up, I'll just kind of address that as I go. So let me just kind of see what kind of drums we've got. We'll just give a quick like audition to these different sounds. Also in Pro Tools, now we got some great new features. So if you use the shift and up and down arrows, if you have an extended keyboard, I don't know if you guys can see this in the shot, but this is what I use, an extended keyboard, and I highly recommend it. Highly, highly, highly recommend that you guys get this kind of keyboard for your studio, because you have the additional keys. Let's see if I can get in there and show you guys a little better. You have the additional keys like the arrow. Ah, shoot, it's off camera. My cables are too short to get it up there. All right, you can kind of see it there. You got the arrow keys. There you go. Arrow keys. I'm having to like do the reverse thing looking at myself in the video. And then also you have these, which are home keys and page up and down. So those will take you up and down in your Pro Tools session. Here's page up and down. Check this out and watch Pro Tools. So you easily go through your session like that. You have your arrow keys, which will drop a marker. Let me see if I can page down to get back to there. You know, you can drop a marker in or out with your arrow keys. But also, if you do shift and arrow, then that allows you to flip between different playlists in Pro Tools now. So Pro Tools has made it really easy to comp things by just being able to flip through stuff. It used to be that you would do this see playlists view, and then, hopefully we won't have any crashes or anything. Yeah, and so you do it like that, which is fine if you're doing a single track, but if you're doing like multiple drum tracks, then that becomes a real headache, and then you know you're like, well, where's my snare? So that's not really the best way to do stuff any longer for multi-track. So I just keep it in waveform view, and then I think my computer is being a little bit taxed by doing the live stream and Pro Tools all simultaneously. So apologies if things act a little bit slow. But now I can do shift and the arrow keys, and I can just flip through. Yeah, it's definitely being a little slow this morning. Could be a number of things. But anyway, I'll have it, hopefully have it sped up by the next one we do. So I'm just doing arrow keys, and it takes me through these different tracks for comping. So then I can like listen here. Also, you can see that this says kick B69. Let's see if I can zoom in on that for you guys. Awesome. Yeah, Johnny says it sounds great as anything through a phone speaker. Thanks, dude. Appreciate it. That's how I'd probably be watching it. I mean, I'd love to just stream a video off my phone easily and just kind of catch up. So if I zoom in here, hopefully you guys can see. I won't be able to see your comments for just a sec. But I might be able to on my phone. I'll get my phone going too. But you can see this is kick B69 right here. And that means that was probably the last take. So even though this says 78 here, it means that by the time I hit 69, I was done recording this, and then I probably started using these takes from 69 to 78 is probably me punching the drum fills in different places, different locations in the song, and just doing this right here every time where I do duplicate track. So I'm probably duplicating the track there, and you see it made a 79 there. And then I just punched the drum fills. So wherever I duplicated, then the general chunk of audio on my Pro Tools track is going to be the same. So I'll hit undo here and go back to where I was. So let me just kind of go through this, and I'll show you I'll show you some more features for comping. So I would start by, I have a lot of tracks here to go through, so we're not going to get through them all together today. But the first thing I would do is I would hit duplicate from where I left off, assuming that where I left off was a really good track and a really good choice. Yeah, Thomas, if you have Reaper, I'm sure that an extended keyboard is probably still going to be great for you, so I highly recommend it. And I don't know if anybody's making a Reaper keyboard overlay where you can like put it down on your keyboard. But that can be a pretty cool thing too. Sometimes if you want to, like, they've got, I was using one from Logic Keyboards, I think it was a while ago, last year. And it's a rubber overlay that you can put over your keyboard, just lay it on there. And now you've got all these like custom key commands. But in the end, I actually just went back with the basic one. But let me jump back in. So I'll start by hitting this duplicate button here. And so then that goes from 78 to 79. You'll see that up in the top of the screen. And now I'm actually going to call this my comp track. So let me show you how I do that. I'm going to use, down here you see Batch Commander. So that comes from Slate Digital. Let me see if it's on my desktop. Hopefully it's not too messy here. Let me go to my desktop, and then there's Batch Commander. And that'll open up, hopefully. Oop. All right, it's not syncing today, so I'll have to show you guys that another time. I think. Yeah, it's not. I'm gonna have to set something up different. It's with the new year coming and everything, sometimes you have to make sure you're updating all your different software so that they keep up with each other. But I'll do it manually. What I do with Batch Commander is I have an automated way to speed up this process. So I'll go through the track. So I just double clicked on my kick drum, my first mic. So B stands for beater. Actually, let me show you what each one of these is, and then I'll show you what I do with this comping. So here's my beater track for the kick. This is a D112 inside the kick drum, and you can hear it's got the attack of the beater, but it's also got kind of a, there's almost a basketball quality to it. And so that's one of those things that you typically have to address in the mix stage by sucking some of the mid-range out, the low mids and stuff. So then there's a kick F, which stands for kick front mic. So this is a condenser mic in front of the front head of the kick drum, and it sounds a little bit darker and pillowier. Hear that? In this case, it's pretty tight, pretty boxy too. I'll probably want to suck out some of those box frequencies. Probably a little lower in the mix for you guys right now, because that's where I would typically mix it. Here's a 57 on top of the snare, an SM57. Snare T just stands for top. It's got a nice bright crack to it. You hear the attack of the drum. And then here's snare B for snare bottom, and this is probably also a SM57 as I remember. And you really get the snary quality of the snares too. And then here's the rack tom. So this is, I believe this is the Mic Tech PM 11, I think. I think the 10 is the kick drum. Sorry, Mic Tech. I gotta look at them to remember that. PM9 I use all the time for my podcast, so I remember that one every day. So you can hear that's the rack tom. Sounds great too. And then here's the floor tom going by. Same mic, and also you see these edits here. You might have heard a pop. That's just because I quickly punched in and out of these edits, and it's no big deal. I can peel these back over to clean them up. But if I even peel this, you can see these drums do a fill and then disappear. And that's because we were just punching in on the track. So then overheads here. Oh, sorry, not overhead. This is the U67. I have a Neumann U67 here. And this is a lot of times I'll put it out in front of the drum kit. you know, it's kind of like an ambient mic, kind of like if you were standing and just looking at the drums, and it helps add some excitement to the track. So that sounds like this. And you hear that picks up a lot of cymbals. So it adds some excitement to the snare, but it can also bring in a lot of cymbals, and you have to always kind of balance that. And then I use my Coles 4038. I think I actually put it up in a sweet spot on top of the stairs where I felt like there was some really nice low end getting picked up on the kick drum. That sounds like this. Much smoother on the cymbals and stuff. Thicker on the kick and the snare too. And then here's the overhead. So these are the MicTech VM3s. Am I saying that right? It's too early on a Sunday morning for me to remember all the names of everything. But these are my tube mics from MicTech, condenser mics, and they sound great for overheads on the drums. And I think I just chose to do kind of like a split pair like that, looking down. And then here is the room mics. And these are the Roswell Mini K47. So I have those set upstairs. And I started doing it like this recently, where I just put the two of them as this kind of almost like ORTF stereo pair upstairs. Because I wanted it to be stereo, but a little bit more focused and not like sounding like a real difference between the two mics. So it's almost like in my headphones, I hear the crash sounding real centered, but then the snare sounds like a bigger room space. So that's cool. And then all those drums together. All right, so let me show you what I do when I'm comping. So now here's this kick B79 track, and I'll pull that up, and I'll do the up arrow here to take my cursor to the top. I'll hit a space bar one time, down arrow, back up over that 79, space out, and hit Command or Shift C for a capital C. And so what that does is that gives me, I'll show you actually before I do the rest of them, I'll show you this. So now if you click on this playlist, you'll notice that the space puts it at the top of the list so you can easily see it. And then capital C just lets you know this is a comp track. So it easily puts my comp track at the top of the list, easy to find, no problem. So let me go through the rest of these and I'll do the same thing. And if I get into a good rhythm, then I can do them quickly. Yeah, it's almost like playing drums. If I don't think about it and I just get my fingers going and do it as like a rhythmic thing, a drum beat, then I can do these quick. But now you'll see, again, kick B is up there. If I go down to snare T, C, snare top comp track, then you'll see it's at the top of the list from that space bar trick too. So that's a really handy way to keep your stuff organized. Now I'll use the target playlist feature of Pro Tools. And let me go in and click that. And I just made that a target playlist. There is also a way, I'm trying to remember what the key command is. I think it's like, I'll have to look at this again for you guys, but I think it's like Command, Control, right arrow or something, and that makes it a target playlist. Let's try that. Nope, that's not it. That did something else. All right, cool. So that means that this, now if I find a track that I really like, let's say I really like this, let's say I really like this first section on the drums. Let's just listen to it and see what we got. Also, I'm going to turn the drums up pretty loud so we can really hear them. Oh, Thomas, what's up, dude? You were asking about the tom mic. It's either the MicTech PM10 or 11. I think the PM10 is the kick drum mic, and the PM11 is the clip-on dynamic tom mic. They're awesome because you don't need music or you don't need mic stands for this. You can just like clip, put your mic cable into the mic, and then you can just clip the whole thing. Usually, actually, I clip it onto the edge of the tom and then put the mic cable on. Sometimes if you have a drummer who's using rim mounts for their toms, then you won't be able to clip the clip on. It just like, it needs the right kind of edge to clip onto. But it's just so quick and easy to just clip your mics right onto the drums if you can. So, all right, so now let's just assume we really like that stretch right there. I'll blow this up a little bit. Actually, zoom out a little bit so you can tell that it's an edit. And you're like, cool, I want to put that into the comp. So there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can press copy, go to the playlist, go all the way up, click on this one, wait till it switches, and then click Apple V and paste it in. Actually, let me empty out everything on this track too, so that it's not, so that you're not getting fooled by what's there. Sorry, I got to go back and do that one more time for you, because it was already a duplicate of what was there, so it was making it hard to see that it was actually doing what we were trying to do. So I'm going to go to 78, hit copy, go to the toppy, kick BC. Sorry about the little delay and what's happening on my screen, and then hit paste. Okay, now those drums are in my comp track. So for any of you that, like, you probably all like, yeah, that's easy. That's how I would do it. That's the first way to start doing it, which is great. But there are easier ways to do it too. So now let me go back here. Let me hit undo. So that's no longer pasted in there. Let me go back to 78. Click on this one. Now, if I hit Option Command V, it should, oops, no, that's not it. Sorry. Let me try Control Option V. Yep. Did you see that? So there was a little blue flash on the screen and a check mark, and it sends it up to the target playlist. So without even leaving my track 78, I now know that those drums are safely put away in my comp track, and that I can just keep moving. So I don't have to flip through that long playlist going to look for my comp track again. That's one of the really key features of working quickly, is being able to do things where, like, you can stay right where you are, send something to where you want it to be, or make something happen, and not have to zoom out to be confident that it just happened the way you wanted it to. You're just sort of zoomed out in your brain, you know? So, but let's go look, and you'll see that it's in the comp track up here. I go to here, and voila, there it is. So it sent it there just like we hoped it would. Now there's another way to get to the comp track quickly, which is really cool. So you are right here. We're on this track. We're on 78. If I hit Shift and the right arrow, check this out. Takes me right to the comp track so that I can check it out and see what's there and listen to it. And if I do Shift and left arrow again, takes me right back. If I do Shift and up, it's going to go to the next, it's going to cycle through playlists. Now, again, apologies for the slow delay going on with my computer today. I'm not sure what it is, but typically this goes very quickly, and it's as fast as you can hit the buttons, it will flip through these. So you can quickly, let me go to something up here. We'll go to 62. I'll show you again how I would comp something. I would listen to this. Let me listen to just drums too. Okay, cool. So now I just listened to that section and I thought, I like this, cool, let's put that in the comp. Or let's listen to another one. You'll notice that I now have a selection. So that was the down arrow, or clicking with the cursor at the beginning drops the cursor there and creates a cursor start, or, you know, where it'll also press play with the playhead if this guy is engaged, because it's what do we call this again? It's like link, timeline, and edit selection. So that means that whatever I select on here is linked up in the timeline, and when I hit play, it'll play that. But then if you're playing along and then you hit up arrow at this point, now it just automatically puts your out selection, and now you have this selection. While you were listening to it in real time, you have this selection that is you know, easy and quick and represents what you were just hearing. So cool, man. Dan, you're working in PreSonus 1. That's awesome. PreSonus 1 is awesome too. So some of these features you may be able to find, and you know, you may have to find an alternate of the same feature in your DAW. But this sort of the concepts of how I work is where the key is. So just trying to figure out how to make it quick for yourself. Don't get lost clicking if you could just be making decisions. All right, so now let's say I wanted to send that chunk up to the comp track. Again, I would do the Control Option V, and bam, it just went up. You saw the little blue flash. That just sent it up to the comp track, so it's there now. And if I want to go listen to Take 61, I just do Shift Up arrow, listen to that. Cool, Shift Up arrow. Okay, you notice I'm hearing different fills there. And okay, this must be, so there's nothing on these tracks. Now, if you zoom out, you'll see why. It's because we were probably working on this section for a while and just doing a variety of different things. Now, if the shift arrow feature of Pro Tools is great for quickly moving through stuff and coming up with, you know, in listening and auditioning. But sometimes you're just like, man, where did I put that thing? That's where, excuse me, that's where going to playlist view comes in really handy again. So now I'm only on the kick drum track, so I might not see everything. But at a glance, you can see, you're like, oh yeah, from like 1 to 4, we were doing full takes, and then we focused on whatever that is. It's like the bridge or something, you know, that section there at about bar 80. We did a whole bunch of takes here for a while, and then we started focusing on the end section. So this is probably like recording a take from here to the end and then going like, boy, we got to work on that end for a while. And then we just did this to kind of go through the end for a while. Oops, that did not work. Let me go back up. I was hoping I could, oh yeah, what is it? Maybe error. I forgot how we just cycled down through that right now. But here, worked on the end, then we did more takes to the end, then we did a full take. And then we did a bunch of beginnings up to certain points. And then we did some more ends. So this is just like focusing on each section of the song as we needed it. And then I guess these are more full takes. And then probably like, you know, starting and stopping based on either mess ups or hearing, you know, things that we wanted to do with the fills. And then from 68, you'll notice that this says 68 and then this is 69 and this says 69 all the way down. That's because we were duplicating that take and just punching in, which was probably a pretty good take. And then we were punching in fills in different locations. And again, we're only looking at the kick drum track now, so don't be fooled by that and wonder, you know, why this looks this way. But this is a quick way, the playlist feature is a quick way to check out what you've got in all your takes and kind of remember where you left off. All right, cool. So let me go back down to here. And let's just kind of listen some more and see what we got. I'm not going to be able to do a full comp with you guys right now, so I'm just going to kind of wanted to give you guys an overview because I'm going to be jumping in and comping this in the morning for reals. So just soloing the drums here. A lot of good pocket in this, but you can hear, yeah, you just heard a punch go by. So that was doing a punch in the drums, and just trying to look for this fill, you know. Now let's listen to some of these other fills, and so you can get a feel for like what we were doing. So now if I go to 77. These fills stayed the same, so we were probably doing duplicates and punching a different fill. And then that starts to give variety there. Anyway, so yeah, so I'll be going through and I'll comp all these big sections, and then I'll go through and I'll really dig deep for all the drum fills and make sure everything's good. And then after that, I'll fine tune it more. I may or may not do any kind of beat detective. Elastic audio is another option for tightening drums later, but I find that beat detective has a more pure sound because you're not actually manipulating the audio. You're just generally taking chunks of audio and hits and trying to move them around slightly and crossfading them, which is how that works. And they both can sound great in different situations. If you guys have any questions, drop them in too, because I want to answer any questions that you've got about drums, and I'll probably wrap up here in a minute. And I really appreciate you all being here because this is fun for me to test this out and see that this is working. And I'll start to try and do this a little more regularly. Okay, so here's one of those big fills again. And notice what's going on with the kicks. Okay, so this is why we were cutting a lot of drums too, because it's tricky to get that right. And for some drummers, maybe that can be a little tougher to land that kick just right. So you can hear that right there. The kick doesn't land with the snare drum quite like it should. This one's close. Here's the snare. Here's the kick. This one falls way behind, so that's totally not going to work. So I will be digging through and looking for drum fills where they lined up pretty well. Sometimes you can actually just go, depending on whether he hits the cymbal the same on the next triplet, then you can actually just duplicate this first one. So for me, that would be Command D. But that starts to sound a little bit loopy if you hear the cymbal hit too much, the same each time. But you do get a tighter sound. You hear that? So it just entirely depends on the aesthetic of your music and what you're doing, whether that's something that would work for you. And sorry, just checking out your comments below. And yeah, so let's see. Let me flip through on this one drum fill. See what other kind of stuff we find. I'll just arrow up. Actually, I'm going to start at the end because we may have nailed this by the last take. Okay, so I think that was a variety, different variety of fill. And then flipping up, you can see this. The color changes because each one of these is a different playlist, but it's the same drums until we get to here. And then... there you go. The first two kicks are actually a lot tighter on this one. You hear how the second triplet, that kick sounds like it's lined up. But then if I go to this one, you're going to hear that that second kick is too far out. Let me know if you guys are hearing that on your end. Drop a comment in. And then here's an alternate. All right, cool. So go back down to where we were. Just keep listening from there. Hey, what's up, Sir Mick? Yes, this was cut to a click track, so I can even turn that on. You hear the click through there now? Okay, also, so there's another cool trick with Pro Tools. To get that click on or off, if you have the extended keyboard, you can just hit the number 7, and you'll notice at the top here, right, where is it? Right there. You'll notice that it turns on the metronome. If I just hit the number 7, turns it on, turns it off. So that's really handy, especially when you're tracking drums and you get to the end and the click's screaming loud in some headphones. You want to manually jump over and hit that number 7 and turn it off as the drummer finishes the end of the thing. Thomas, what's up, dude? You say, pretty sure you take that up on tracking drums in the weeks coming up. Cool. Which part are you going to take that up? Take me up on? Are you going to do... Are we going to be recording drums together, or are you going to get yourselves the mic tech mics for your toms? All right, so let's see here. That was recorded to a click. I'm not sure what else I want to show you guys. If you got questions, jump right in and ask. But yeah, here you see another kick on the fill. Watch this. So that one didn't work. But that one did. Listen to the kick is much tighter on this. Here, I'm going to turn the kick up so you really hear it. Is that too quick for you guys, or are you following me on this? So there's that kick, second kick on that triplet. But if I go down to this one, you'll hear how this one didn't work out. I mean, you can just see the kicks way off on that one. So that was just that one just was just an accident. No worries. Accidents happen all the time in the studio. Happy accidents are the best. And then if I keep going, that one was pretty cool too. Different fill. And then on this one, you can see that kick fell behind. So this is stuff. This is really what I wanted to show you guys in this video too. Was I wanted to just kind of get a chance to talk to you guys about some of the important challenges you're going to face if you do a 4 on the floor kick drum on a song, or if you do fills where the kick drum needs to be really tight in there. So a lot of drummers might start by dropping a kick on this first thing, then doing a full snare fill, and then dropping a kick here at the crash, or with that, you know, that fill right there. Or they might have dropped the kicks all through here all together. And if you like that sound and that's fine for your music, then do it. But just know ahead of time that you can lose some power and energy on a rock song if you don't keep that kick steady throughout there. So for example, if this is 4 on the floor all the way through this section, then when you get to the fill, you don't necessarily want to lose that 4 on the floor because you lose some of the drive. You want to keep it going. Let me see how we're doing here with the close mics on these two. So here's the kick beater and the snare top. Okay, now you really hear what's going on. So that kick and snare are lining up pretty well on the groove, but then they mess up on that particular fill. And it's just one of those things that a drummer really has to get a lot of practice on to be able to nail that. That one's just messed up. I don't want to embarrass anybody. If I was out there playing drums, I'd have a whole lot of mess ups. So this guy was still great. And we were pushing him. We were pushing a lot of takes and a lot of drumming that day. Anyway, cool. I think I'm going to, so Thomas says he's got a bunch of questions, but he's going to check out the mics. Awesome. Well, I'm going to try and do more of this. Let me know in the comments below when for you would be the best time. Even if you're coming at this again later and you missed this live stream, let me know where you are in the world, and let me know what time of day and which day of the week you'd be most likely to jump in on a live stream. Also, as I do more of these, I'm going to try and do an announcement ahead of time so that they come in your email. If you aren't on my email list already, make sure to check out mixmasterbundle.com. And I'll drop a link into the show notes below. And that is my free mixing course. So that'll get you connected with me so that I can give you email announcements of the podcast every week, let you know when I'm doing live streams, also let you know when new giveaways are coming up. I got a new one coming this month. There's going to be a great one from Dr. Alien Smith. I'm going to be doing a dirt mic giveaway. So it's a microphone with built-in distortion. Very excited about that. And also, make sure to, here, I'll see if I can do this right. See that subscribe button? Hit that subscribe button right there. Subscribe. That way you'll always know when new videos are coming out, and you also get a little notification on your phone when I'm live streaming here on Recording Studio Rockstars. And hit the notification bell in Pro Tools, or excuse me, hit the notification bell in YouTube so that you're notified. You get a little text whenever I go live on a video or when a new video comes out, so you don't feel like you missed out on something. Plus, when I do giveaways, those I try to make YouTube videos for those too, so you'd make sure you were notified right at the beginning of the giveaway and get a chance to really get in a lot of entries. When's the next live stream, Nick, or Sir Mick, excuse me? I'm not sure yet, but I'm going to try and make it soon. So drop in a comment and let me know when it's good for you. And I may do some on weekends. I've got my daughter on weekends, so I can't always do it. But I'll also look at doing it on weekdays during the day, which is great for some of you who are overseas, and that lines up with your nights. Or I may do it in evenings. And I just want to bring you guys cool stuff. So let me know if you got anything that you want to see me live stream, and we'll dig more into very specific teaching stuff. Thanks for watching this. This was a first stream for me. Drop in a comment and let me know if there's anything about the sound or the look or the clarity that you think could be better, or if you like the way this all looks on the screen. I'll show you a couple of my other screens right now too, and then you can tell me if you prefer one or another. Here's this fun one right here. This is where I get to just say hi to you guys, and all your comments are right there in front of me. And I don't think I can scroll through them. I think they're just there right now. I'm using a new feature for that. And then there's also the screen where I've got more of a big screen of Pro Tools. This one doesn't have the comments on it, but I can add them. So this would be one where I'm just here and you can see everything on the Pro Tools screen. And if you prefer one versus the other, let me know. I just want feedback, and love you guys. You're awesome. Thanks for watching, Rockstars. We'll see you guys at the next live stream. See if I can turn this off. Peace out.